Welcome to Which Side Do You Want, where we talk all things tennis. I'm your co-host, Ruffin Thornton, and I'll be joined by my good friend, James Skinner.
Unlike most tennis podcasts, we cover hot topics, from the lawns to the concrete, from the pros to the park, and all things in between. Welcome to Which Side Do You Want?
Welcome back, tennis fans.
Welcome.
Back to our podcast here at the wonderful studios of Another Wave Media here in Chesterfield, Virginia. So it's been about a week, two weeks as we're coming into our Thanksgiving holidays and Christmas holidays season. Yeah. So James, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, brother. How are you, Ruffin?
I'm doing all right. You ready for the Thanksgiving holiday?
Yeah, I'm ready as I'll ever be. I'm going.
You got any plans?
I'm going to visit my sister. She lives in Virginia Beach, so go head on down there.
That's cool. We've got this year we've got family coming down to Mom's spot, so It should be a rather big gathering.
Awesome.
We're gonna have to break out the little boys' table.
Oh, that's right.
Girls'
extended table. Yeah,
extended table.
Kids sit there and eat.
Oh yeah, eating. Yeah, we're gonna be in.
That's right.
In
Can't
the
come
formal
to the grown folks' table.
Not back.
Got to work your way up to that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put people in the formal dining room and in the family room upstairs in the bonus room. Everybody, we got a bunch of people.
Man, that's what it's all about. Yeah. I'm happy after what we've been through the last few years, man. I'm happy to see families getting together again.
I know.
And it's been crazy, trying times, but the resilience, people, we resilient. We'll get through it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that, for the holidays and hopefully everybody else out there will have a good Thanksgiving as well.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some tennis.
Man, let's talk about some tennis.
This is the year end. So last time we were on, we were talking about the WTA finals and the upcoming Billie Jean King Cup.
Right.
So let's, those tournaments have now passed, and we've got the winner. So let's go ahead and talk about that real quick.
Well,
I'd like to congratulate the winner of the individual WTA finals, and it was Caroline Garcia. Did you see that coming?
Yeah. No, I did not. I did not.
I thought in fact, you were saying that Iga was going to win it all.
I said she was going to win it. I didn't see anybody beating her, but hey, Garcia, she put together a game plan, and what did she do? She took it to her.
I mean, that's the way you have to play.
That's how you got to play.
And I was looking at some of her matches throughout the round robin, and she played very good, solid tennis.
Right, she did.
She attacked, she got to the net, and especially that finals match against Ariana Sabalenka, where she but just held her own.
Mm-hmm.
She's just stayed steady.
Yeah.
She was just right there at all times, and she took advantage of short balls and came to the net quite often to finish off points.
She really played smart tennis. She took advantage of the opportunities when she had chance to attack. She attacked. And she just she's played that way a lot. That's her career. She's a very crafty, very smart player. She understands the situation she's in. She can adapt her game to play. In the mode that she needs to play. And that's just a seasoned, intelligent tennis pro.
Yeah.
She's definitely a pro. And my hat's off to her, man. She did well.
She
got the job done.
I like the fact that her confidence was there throughout the entire time, because that's been one of her downfalls throughout her early career thus far.
Right.
She hasn't always been the most confident player, believing in herself. And that was never in doubt throughout the entire WTA finals.
Right.
She played. Of course, she was surprised that she did as well as she did to win. She walked away from the whole tournament with $1.57 million. So
boy.
That's a beautiful thing, but it'll make you nervous.
Taxes in France are high though. So.
Well,
she's probably have to give up about 70% of it. That's right. But hats off to her. She did well. She earned it. She won it. And like I said, I was totally shocked. I didn't think anybody was going to beat Iga.
Yeah.
But it's been a long year, and you get on those streaks like that, you gotta lose. You're gonna lose sometime.
Yeah.
And even now, there's no guarantee. Mm-hmm. I just thought up to this point, I didn't see anybody was going to really beat her.
Oh yeah.
And but
especially the form that she had.
Right. She was hitting off, but it's a long year and she's tired.
Right.
You know?
And she spoke about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she doesn't always get up for every match.
Sure.
And, you know, that just kind of lets you know that the tour is a long, tiring, year-long event.
Year-long. You say that again, Ruffin.
Yeah, it's a year-long event. And
there's no off-season.
There's no off-season. I mean, the players that get to the year-end, especially the top players, once the finals or their last tournament commitment is done, they take a break. And they need it, you know, because tennis is one of those sports that is played year-round from the end of December to the end of November, you know, and that's a long, long time. So you really only have about 4 weeks of downtime, depending on how successful your season is. So,
exactly.
You know,
but that's the first thing you said is the top players.
Right.
And we talked about this when we talked about endorsements and stuff, that there is a hierarchy, definitely. And those top players, they can take a break.
Yeah.
They don't need to, their points are high enough. They got enough points. They got enough money, and they got a check still coming in because those endorsement salaries and everything else. Some of them may do an exhibition here or there, and they make more money doing that. You know, if they choose to, but they have options. But if you're 250 or below, or if you're 150 below, you know, you got work to do on the off season. You got to earn some points. You got to play in some tournaments. You got to go somewhere where you can get some points. And make your money.
Yeah. That kind of talks about what's coming up in the next year. You know, the ATP and the WTA have talked about the prizes have increased. I think they're going over, for the very first time, $150 million on the men's side, and something close to that on the women's side, which is great.
It's awesome.
So that just means, I think John McEnroe put it out there on social media, saying that now those rank and file players can earn a decent living without having to struggle as much as they would have back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So.
And one of the things that I was always moved by, which is another reason why Roger Federer is the man. He not be, you know, we can debate about the GOAT thing, but I think one of the things is that he was one of the players who spearheaded. He got a lot of the top players to say, hey, let's take a little bit less money on our end to support those down below us, you know. And I thought that was like, okay, this guy, man, he's of a different, make, because, you know, he now, granted, he's got enough, and I think that's his mindset. You know, I got more than I need right enough. Now. So let's help those down who are struggling to make it, and give them their opportunity, and help them to be able to make a living, you know, playing this game, and expand the game and grow the game in that way. And I thought, and not only Federer, but I think Djokovic was on that. I think a lot of the top players decided to say, we can take a little less, so they can, you know, trickle down to the rank and file players. And I admire him. Hats off to him for that. And all the top players who also.
That's why he's Roger. Anyway.
That's right? That's why he's Roger.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, but again, we can congratulate Caroline in her win. And, you know, she's going to do, we look for bigger and better things next year.
Hopefully I'm hoping this will give her confidence that she could play these big tournaments and beat the top players. And I want to see how she does. I mean, now it's a different surface, but, you know, French is looming, and, they haven't had a female champion since Mary Pierce? Was she the last?
She was.
Okay.
And she's a transplant because she came from the United States.
Yeah, right. So she's but anyway, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go ahead and move on with Elise Mertens and Veronika Kudermetova, the doubles champions of the WTA finals. You know, they defeated the favorites, and they were heavy favorites, Barbora Krejcikova versus what's Siniakova? What's her first name? Katerina Siniakova. They pulled out a bit of an upset because they split sets, and in that tie break in the WTA finals for the doubles championship, they were down 7-2. Yeah. And they came back and pulled it out. That's a really amazing.
You had two veteran doubles players
that just won't quit.
They won't quit, and there's that level. I'm watching them. I'm saying, okay, you know, their mindset is that, okay, we have found an opening here, and we're going to exploit that opening. And what did they start doing? Man, they start coming in attacking. They put pressure on. And I was just like, okay. But that's what veteran pros do. They just that high tennis acumen. You know, they just know the game. They understand the game. They know those players that they're playing, and they can adapt their game. And they say, okay, we found this one. And
and even when it looks bleakest, you know, it ain't over till it's
not
over.
over till it's over.
I'm sure we both have those stories where we were down, you know, and it just you're already thinking about what you're gonna have for lunch afterwards.
But you're ready to get off that court.
To get off the court.
But then one thing
all
happens,
of a sudden, you know, you get on a roll, break. 1 point here, 1 point there. Next thing you know, you're winning the match.
That's right.
You know? And that's what happened in the finals. So we give our applause to Elise and Kudermetova. Also, since we're talking about the women's side, the Billie Jean King Cup that also finished about a week ago.
Another surprise.
Switzerland defeats Australia in the finals for their very first win.
BJK Cup.
I mean, I would not have seen, not to say that Switzerland, because they were ranked pretty high in the rankings coming into the tournament. But I think they were the number 1 or number 2 seed.
Outside of Belinda Bencic.
Yeah.
I mean, and Teichmann, Jill Teichmann. I don't know anybody else.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I just don't. I don't know.
It really was just them because they weren't even that deep. They only brought 4 players.
Right.
I'm like, what?
But they played inspired tennis, and Bencic, man, she just...
So throughout the entire tournament, they lost 1 match tie. Amazing. 1 match tie, and that was to Canada in the round robin.
That's right.
You know, they swept everybody else. They swept... I forgot who their semifinal opponent was, 2-0, and then of course they beat the Australians 2-0.
Right.
That was a surprise to me.
Surprise for them. Good for them.
Yeah, good for them. I mean, we're happy that they pulled it out.
Yeah,
Bencic seems to be that player that rises for her country because she, you know, we forget that she won the Olympics.
Olympic champion. Yeah.
So. You know, she's used to representing her country when it counts.
Sure.
And this is nothing more than when it counts at the end of the year when everybody's tired, like we've been saying, but still coming to bat for what it's worth, you know.
Exactly.
Also, let's talk about, since we're talking about the Billie Jean King Cup.
I know what you're getting ready.
The Americans, we had high hopes for the Americans in the Billie Jean King Cup, especially when the players were announced. We thought Jessica Pegula was going to play, but because of her performance in the WTA finals, which unfortunately was disappointing for not only her and Coco Gauff representing themselves, she ended up backing out. But the American team had that still stellar lineup. It still had Danielle Collins. It still had
Coco
Gauff, both
Madison
in the top
Keys.
10. It had Madison Keys still in the top 20. It had very, very good doubles players in Taylor Townsend and Catherine McNally. We thought that this was a team that could get us back to the finals and potentially win the cup.
Right.
But they, again, disappointing. And I don't know what happened, you know. It's a long season, like we said.
Yeah, I think that had something to do with it. Fatigue. At the end of the long season, they played a lot of tennis, especially Coco Gauff and Keys. They play in every Grand Slam event. They play, and also for Coco and Katie McNally and those experience.
Yeah,
you can't count that out. I think just being in that situation, being on that team competition, that bigger stage, having the USA on your chest, that, even right now, you walk out there, people expect, because you got the stars and stripes on your sleeve, that you got to do something. I'm hoping that they'll learn from this, and I'm sure they will, and that we'll build on the future. Take this performance, learn from it, and be ready next year, and I think they will. I think for Coco Gauff, I think, like I said, she's another, man. She's a thinker on the court. She's got a high tennis acumen. Also, Jessica Pegula is very talented, another very heady, smart player. Danielle Collins, let's get her back healthy, 100%. See what she does then. I think she's going to be ready next year. Madison Keys, coming and going. We'll see how she holds together this year. And we have Taylor Townsend. Let's see what Taylor does, in the future, how her game develops. I'm hoping to see more of her. And we have a few other American players down in the pipeline that are going to come up. I think going to make some headway. So that team will look different.
Yeah, from Kennan to Sloan to Anisimova. Those are again some top players. Lee, some young players. Yeah,
we're looking to see
Asia Muhammad is coming back up. Double strength. So I can see that going forward. But I like the fact that Catherine Rinaldi, the Billie Jean King Cup captain, had a winning strategy, but the players got to play.
They still got to execute.
And unfortunately, this, like you said, this was just not the best performance from. Like I said, I would have thought that Danielle Collins, with her college background and having to go to battle against an opponent that you may or may not know a whole lot about, would have been prepared. And she won that first match in the first tie. She won that in 3 sets, and then lost rather meekly in the second matchup against Poland. I mean, Czech Republic. Yeah. And again, they
gotta be like 3-3.
Yeah, I was thinking, what's going on with
Vondrousova? She lost to Vondrousova.
Yeah, and I was thinking that was a little surprising. And heck, I would have, even though Coco, who played in the WTA finals in Dallas, Fort Worth in the States, and having to come all the way across in the following week to Glasgow, Scotland. I would have, at that point, it was actually probably a week and several days since the last time she'd actually played a match other than the doubles match, because they didn't play it until that Friday. So I would have rather have put Coco out there and just seeing what she could have done in both the double singles and the doubles.
Awesome. Yep.
So instead of leaving in that doubles tie in that against the Czech Republic to Madison and Taylor. Not to say that Taylor and Madison couldn't have gotten it done. But they were playing against a really good doubles team.
Right.
So.
And even though they have, like, Madison has the power on those ground strokes, and Taylor Townsend's one of the best volleyers.
She's crafty.
Women's
Absolutely.
tennis. But you're right. If you're playing against a smart doubles team, you're gonna have to bring it.
Sometimes you gotta put your best out there.
You really do.
And like back in the day when McEnroe used to do double duty playing singles and doubles for the Davis Cup, he just sucked it up.
It up and did what he had to. He played Davis Cup. You can't ever say he didn't represent.
Oh, absolutely. But we digress about those players from back in the day. Those are our glory days.
Yeah, that's another podcast.
Yeah, we can talk about our heroes
from back in the day. Exactly.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on. Even though the U.S. women had a disappointing Billie Jean King Cup, again, we see promise going forward. But let's move hopeful. On to the ATP finals. That's going on right now. In fact, the round robin, I'm a little surprised at some of the results of the round robin. So in one round robin, I think it was the green group, Rafa
Nadal
had the first 2 matches where he just didn't look like himself.
Right. Well,
and being a first-time father, I can understand him being a little distracted. Sure. He's thinking about the little one. He's already talking,
his son.
Talking about, I'm not pursuing number one ever again because
it takes too much.
Yeah, it takes too much, and my focus is now on my family. Being a first-time father.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Ruffin, because I wanted to comment on that. And first of all, we go back to what you mean to the game.
Right.
And Rafa Nadal has done everything you could do in this game. And and for me, it's personal. I just love watching the guy play. I would like to see him play as much as he wants to play.
Yeah.
Just like we talked about with Venus and Serena. I think they have earned the right to play as long as they want.
Sure.
However they want. I'll still watch him.
Yeah.
However, he, like you said, he's married man now. His father. He's got his first son, and your priorities change. He's not that 18, 19-year-old kid who, under Uncle Tony, and all he needed to do up in Mallorca was hit forehands and backhands, And so that was his whole. So now there are other things that are more important to you, as important, if not more. I'm sure his son is more important to him than
anything else.
And so, and I'm thinking that time spent away from him, and he's thinking, look, it's not the money.
No,
I've made money. I'll never be poor. My son will never be poor. And
his son will never be poor.
His son will never be poor. Right. And they have the academy. He has his tennis academy, I think, in Mallorca. And so I think, I see that. He's like, okay, I don't need to do this anymore. I mean, I could quit anytime, and his place in history is secure. He's going to the Hall of Fame without a doubt. I mean,
he's going to be right now. He is the GOAT based on our
metrics.
He
is the GOAT. Yeah, he is the GOAT. We if y'all go to our GOAT episode, we had picked someone else, but he's proven that he's fit all the categories himself. And so if he decides to hang it up this year, and I just got this feeling, and I told you this before, I'm thinking that the French might be it for him. I'm thinking he may play the French Open one more time. If he's going to end his career, it's got to be at Roland Garros.
I can see that.
It has to be that. I mean, because to me, he is synonymous with that tournament now. I will never look at that tournament and not think of him. They need to dedicate a court to him. I think they need to name one of the courts after Nadal.
I mean, it's not far off. They've already got a statue there.
And I think they need to name one of the courts after him. And I just, because he, so if he's ready to end his career, so be it. That's fine. I like, me as personal, I like to see him continue to play. I just like watching him play. But if that's, if he wants to move on, and so he doesn't, and you're right, he did not look like himself. Yeah. But of course not, because he's not. He's, 36 now?
He'll turn 37 next year.
37, yeah. So, and, he's got other interests now.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Yeah.
He can walk away from this game tonight.
Yep.
And he's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
He don't have nothing to prove to nobody. Yeah. Or himself.
But still, it was a little surprising. Of course,
he spoiled us.
Yeah, because we're used to seeing him win almost everything against everyone, and he's improved his game on all surfaces. At first, he was just a clay court specialist dominating on this sport on that surface, but over the years, he became a really good hard court player. Yep. He became a better grass court player. Yep. He even became we thought was his kryptonite, a fast surface player, like the indoor courts in Turin right now. Mm-hmm. He improved, at every aspect. So, hats off to Rafa. Yeah. And again, like you said, he spoiled us with his results, but this too shall pass. Everybody will. Yeah. Father Time is undefeated.
He will get you. Yeah. He's going to get you. Some he gets early. Some he gets late.
Yeah.
But he will get you.
He will get you.
And but we just enjoy him while he's still playing. Right. I just got this feeling that he's going to call it at the French this year. I don't know why I keep thinking that. And that just, to me, I think it would be appropriate. I think that would be a great send-off for him. Mm-hmm. And I see him getting into the second week, have him doing, and they give him a Serena moment, which he's well deserved, that maybe at the French, they just, really, and oh my gosh, if he announces this year, the French Open is going to be.
Ticket sales are going to already be through the roof. So let's hope that doesn't necessarily happen, but we know it's inevitable.
Right. And that monument is off the chain, man. Gosh, if you go and Google and look at the statue, the monument that they dedicated to Rafa, it is incredible, and it's him.
It's him. Yeah, definitely is him. I'm like, man, that's intimidating if you're a player about to play at the French Open.
That makes you know what them people are going through.
It's like, Do you mean to tell me this dude that I'm about to play has got a statue already? No, that would be intimidating.
No, intimidating is walking on that court.
And then seeing him across the
clay,
net. And court, even more so, seeing that ball jump off the court above your head and you trying to hit it.
He's running off fast and coming in. He's something.
So that was one, his results at early on in the round robin were a little surprising. He lost to Taylor Fritz.
Right.
I think that was his first time, Taylor's first time beating him.
Yeah.
He lost to, I forgot his second opponent. And then he beats his boy. He beats Casper Ruud.
Yeah, of course.
But that was 5-5.
Sure. It was tough.
So that was a tough first round, tough showing for him. But again, we could see Rafa not having his clear year-end focus.
No.
And not that he ever really performed very well at the year-end tournament anyway, but we're not going to talk too much more about Rafa.
That's
also another what I want to say, surprising result was Medvedev's results.
Yeah.
He also did not win a match throughout. He lost to a tough match to Tsitsipas. He lost a tough match to Rublev. And he got bounced by a really, really entertaining good match.
It was a good match
against Novak.
Yeah, that was a very good match. Yeah, for Medvedev, I think once again, we gotta understand and put it in perspective. You gotta play the best of the best of the best, day in, day out. You cannot have one small, slight, problem. You can't have any mistakes. You can't have any weaknesses.
Yeah.
And the ability to stay at that high level and play this game, and you and I, we played this game.
Yeah.
And we've played at points where we played pretty well, but to be able to consistently play there is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, to be able to, and so they're human beings, they're not machines. So everybody's, and I was a little surprised too. I thought, because he'd had a layoff, to get himself. He's had some injury
he had some
issues,
time off,
and he's taken some time off. But when you're not playing day in, day out, that competitive, that level of competitiveness kind of drops a little. If it drops a little, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
doesn't have to drop much, just drop a little.
Just a little.
And so for him, he's going to go back. He's going to retool some things. That rascal's going to be ready.
Yeah, I look forward to Medvedev regaining number one in the world next year because he's already hinted at that. He was not happy with his performance throughout the the ATP tournaments at all.
Yeah,
and of course he acknowledged the level of opponents that he played. Again, he played an informed Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas served his butt off in that first match.
Well, yeah.
Again, Rublev, that's his boy. They know each other's game, and Rublev is playing well, being the first time in the finals himself. Or did he play last year? I can't remember.
I think he did play last year.
Yeah, so the second time. So he's used to it. So he wants to do better. I know he didn't do that well last year because Medvedev won it.
Right. Was he in Next Gen last year?
No, he wasn't in Next Gen. He was in Next Gen a couple years ago.
Okay, yeah. But anyway.
That reminds us, we got to talk about this before as well. We got to say that, we got to tip our hats off. I know this is out of sequence, but we got to tip our hats off to Brandon Nakasima.
Yep.
He won the Next Gen championship. And we didn't really talk about it. And do we really consider him Next Gen? Because he's already had really good results.
Yeah, but the age. That's because
because he's young.
Yeah, because they were going. Alcaraz could have been in the Next Gen too.
Yeah, but that would have been unfair.
Yeah, he could have played age wise. He's younger than all of them.
Right.
But yeah, hats off to him. I mean, we've been talking about him for a while. He's, we saw him as a good. I saw him a solid player. Right, the first time I saw him, I was like, this dude.
Yeah.
This young man got a future.
Yeah, he does. He reminds me of, as far as the steadiness and improvement in all aspects of his game, like a Novak. Novak didn't come out.
Right.
He had some clear weapons. A friend of ours saw him for the very first time and said that he had the best backhand in the park. Shout out to one of our friends. We know who you are. But he's right. Brandon has a really, really, really good backhand.
Yes, he does.
I mean, it's solid, but he's improved on all other aspects of his game too. So
let me tell you, he has that one intangible that you can't coach, you can't. His temperament.
Yeah, he's unflappable.
He's unflappable.
Yes.
Man, he would get against, oh gosh, I can't think who was playing. And I mean, they were going at it, and there were shots. The British kid. What's the young Brit?
The lefty.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name now. But anyway, they played a match, and he was sending rockets to Nakashima. Nakashima, Brandon, to his credit, man, he did not flinch. He come right back and bust a couple winners on. Right. He was not going to get down. He held his composure, and he sat there and figured out, okay, this is what I have to do. You're going to bring it, but I'm going to bring it too. And I'm not going to let up.
Yeah.
And we're going to see who finishes at the end. And for him, it worked because,
he just outlasted him.
I was just amazed. It's like, man, this dude,
yeah.
This young man has got, like I said, this young man's got a future.
He's definitely going to, and he's going to bolster the Americans in team competition in the future as well. So that's something else to look forward to.
Look for this kid.
Because the Davis Cup is being performed, and I don't think we're going to really talk about it because I have no idea how that format is. It should be happening after the ATP finals.
Yeah. But it's similar. They're going to do a similar thing like the Billie Jean King Cup. They're going to make it like a huge tournament. And some people, I've heard different things they're saying it, whether they like it or not. But I think it's got to be television friendly.
Yeah,
they want to make it media friendly, and having a tournament to stretch all over the whole year, half a year, just doesn't
work anymore.
No, it doesn't. So they kind of had to do that.
Yeah,
but we'll see what USA produces, man. We've got
the players lined up now.
Taylor Fritz, Tiafo, Nakashima. They got to put him in the mix. Wolf, you know, a lot of Tommy Paul, and we got a lot of
my boy Sebastian.
Sebastian Corder.
Yeah,
I mean, these are kids, young Americans now. They ready. They want to get in there and fight.
Yeah.
They're not backing down. They're not afraid, and they're not intimidated. And so I'm happy. I'm excited about American tennis.
Okay.
And then we got a couple young players. Shelton coming up, and also another collegiate player, big tall kid. That played at Georgia Tech. But anyway, I can't think of his name now. He's 6'7".
Yeah.
But anyway, he's starting to emerge too. He's been on the scene for a while and playing challenges and everything, and he's having some good looking results too. I'll think of his name in a minute. I get over the senior moment.
Right.
But so American tennis, we're looking forward to what they're going to do for the men. Women have always
they've been solid.
Yeah, they always held theirs. But the men, it's good, interesting to see some men get up in there.
So again, getting back to the ATP finals, we were talking about Medvedev.
Yes.
I think he's looking forward to next year to proving that he can get back to that top level.
He will
consistently. And
he will.
He's seen the results. This was a bit of a down year, considering he had an injury earlier in the year. The thing with Russia going to war, and that affected him.
Yeah, they had. I can't remember. Somebody had a magazine, one of the magazines. I don't know if it was tennis or rackets or something, but they commented on that the psychological effect that the Russian war is having on the Russian tennis players, and they talked about Rublev, he's the bravest of all of them because he's actually spoken out, and that for the most part it is really, it's damaging to them as far as travel, as far as their ability to play in certain matches. Someone was commenting the fact that when they see their name and their flag is not up there,
right?
That's
a little disheartening.
So it's something that's interesting to think about where they're going through.
Yeah,
but then again, you got to look at what are people in Ukraine going through?
Absolutely,
it's
even
kind of way
worse. But Medvedev, I think he'll come back. So again, right now being played are the ATP finals, where Novak just defeated. He just defeated his semifinals opponent, Taylor Fritz. He was one of the benefactors of Carlos Alcaraz not being in the tournament because of the ab injury, the abductor injury.
Right.
So he's made the most of his opportunities. He was a replacement for Alcaraz. He gets into the tournament, And he does well. He does well to get to the semifinals. He had an opportunity today to potentially get into the finals.
Yeah.
He played lights out against Novak. But of course, Novak, this is Novak. Even though we say Nadal is the GOAT, right now we know outside of Alcaraz, Novak probably in the minds of tennis players is probably still the best player on the planet.
Yeah.
Even on a if you have to play, if you have to decide if all players and all things are the same, if your player is playing the best and your other player is playing the best, who's going to come out? I think Novak comes in, and as a tennis player, we understand that Novak is probably still the best player on the planet. Yeah. And he's right now at the year end, he's proving it. His outlook is much better now because he's been granted a visa to the tournament that he was not able to defend last year, the Australian Open. So, he's playing almost as if he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder to prove that, I'm still the man. A shout out to Aloe Black there. I'm the man. He's showing that he's still the player that we remember him when he was allowed to play outside of COVID.
That's right.
And I think 2023 is going to be interesting with Novak playing. Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see who he plays.
Right.
Which will be the winner in the other semifinal matchup of Rublev versus Casper Ruud. So that ought to be an interesting matchup.
That should be a good matchup as well. The reemergence of Rublev, he really didn't go anywhere, but he wasn't at that level. Yeah. He's had some struggles with his game, and I think he did some changes with his game too. Yeah. And Casper the Ghost, he's steady. He's steady. He's steady, and that match against FAA.
That was a tough matchup.
I'm still, but anyway, he just played well.
In the big moments.
Yeah, and FAA, he came out in gangbusters at the end of the year. And so, and it's kind of tapered off, but, he'll be back again. But Casper, that's going to be a good match to see those two play battle. I guess they're battling right now.
First they're going to play the semifinal doubles match is being played first, and then they'll probably end up with the singles matchup to produce who's in the finals tomorrow.
Okay, and when you talk about doubles also too, just shout out to American Rajiv Ram. He and the British guy Salisbury there won today their semifinal match.
So they're in the finals.
And let me tell you something. Most people, you probably don't know who Rajiv Ram is. But let me tell you, Ruffin, doubles, this guy
is the one that you want to play with.
Yes. Oh my gosh. How many titles does he have?
He's got
a lot of doubles.
More than I can count on my fingers.
Oh my gosh. And he's always in the mix. Mm-hmm. And he plays with various players.
Yep.
But he's always on the winning end. And this is an American that goes under the radar. Mm-hmm. But he's always there. And I remember he's big serve and volley when he was a singles player.
When he played singles,
When he played singles. And I remember seeing him when he played he would always get to the finals of the Hall of Fame tournament. That was his tournament. That grass court tournament was his for a while. He would get to the finals there. But but just hats off to him. Mm-hmm. He's got another notch on his belt.
Not a bad living.
Not a bad living. He can walk through the airport. Nobody's going to mob him or anything. Well, unless you're a tennis player. Most tennis players know him, man. They see him and they say, oh, man, Rajiv Ram.
Yeah. Well, that sounds about enough, like we've talked about enough of our main topic. Do you have anything for our segment on this week or this day in tennis?
Yeah, I'm going to, this isn't really this day in tennis as it is wanted to recognize a tennis player that you probably won't know. And I think we should, if you get a chance, you should Google this player. Mm-hmm. We talked about the ATA tennis program, and if y'all looked at one of our previous segments, we talked about diversity in tennis and that tennis has its origins, which really are not the best origins they have. It started out, this is definitely was an elitist sport, and it was a sport that countries and who had rich people who had leisure time began. And it matriculated down, but not fast enough.
Commoners,
Right. And so African Americans, we had the United States, at that time it was the United States Lawn Tennis Association. And that was the governing body for tennis in this country. However, they wouldn't allow African Americans to participate. You couldn't be a member of the USTA. And of course, you had burgeoning middle class Black professionals who were doctors, teachers, lawyers, so on and so forth. And they had a little leisure time themselves, and they started their own, their own tennis association, which was the American Tennis Association.
Right.
And they would, they were a collection of clubs all up and down the Northeast, and there were some in the South too, but usually most of them were in the Northeast, New York, Washington, D.C., Maryland, New Jersey, and other places too. And they had them in here in the South too. Virginia had clubs. And so they decided to have a tournament of all the, the local clubs had tournaments. They said, well, let's see if we can get all of the other team, the various spots together and play in the national tournament. Right. And so that's when the ATA, they formed the governing body, American Tennis Association, and then they will have their nationals, of course. And all of us have been to or played in the nationals at some point. Now, one of their earlier champions was a man by the name of Jimmy McDaniels. Okay. And he won consecutive ATA championships. Now, how good was he? Well, there were two worlds. Tennis was broken up in two worlds, and that segregated Jim Crow America, which was two worlds.
Right.
And so he was the best ATA player. He was the best African-American tennis player, but he could never play against the best white tennis players.
Sure.
We talked about this player, this champion a while back by the name of Don Budge. Don Budge was a white guy, and at that time he was the number one tennis player in the world.
Yeah.
I think he had won a Grand Slam already. And he was the first to win the Grand Slam, a calendar Grand Slam.
Yeah.
So he was pretty good. And I always, I look at small things that I admire people, At a time when he didn't have to, he said, you know what, let's play. Let's play. And I would say probably at that time, 90% of the white players in the top would have never done that.
Of course not.
And not only did he play him, he went to Harlem to play him. He went to I think it was it's a Metropolitan Club. That's the big club that was or Cosmo. I have to do research, but I think it was the Metropolitan Club, which was called. But they had a match. They played a exhibition tennis match. So we got to see the best white player at the time playing the best Black player
in America.
In America. Right. This was during the 1930s. So it's huge, man. This was huge. And people came from everywhere to see it. I mean, it was big. And for the Black press, all of the newspapers, the Black media, the Pittsburgh Courier, I'm sure, the Amsterdam, probably Afro-American here, probably was, because that was that's how we found out about Black tennis was through those papers.
Right.
And they covered the event. And they played each other. First time you have the top white player, playing against the top African-American player. And of course, McDaniels lost. He lost in straight sets. However, once again, Don Budge, I admire him because he made some really nice comments about, and if you read the press, what he said, he said that, this guy, if he had an opportunity, that's what got me. He said, if he had the opportunity to play, he would be really good.
Wow.
And so that to me, tennis, we love this game. We love this game. And we love it in spite of its bad history.
Yes.
And it does have bad history as far as how this game was evenly distributed to play all people. And that's why you and I, we both, and a lot of people, we continue to try to grow this game with everybody to play. But I just thought that was a significant moment to me. And it's a moment that most people don't know about. I would say go and research it.
Okay.
And one day we're going to bring in a book. There's a gentleman out there who is probably one of, I think from what I've read, Carrington. I'm talking about Carrington. He's probably one of the, as far as historians for black tennis, man, I'm trying to think anybody that's written more and done more than he has. And that story has to continue to be told. We have to continue to grow this game in spite of its past, and understand that that has helped to make it a great game, because in spite of that, you go now, I'm always proud when I see Team USA.
Sure.
Davis Cup, Billie Jean King Cup, and we go out there and we got African Americans, we got Caucasian Americans, we got Latino Americans, we got Asian Americans playing on our team.
Yeah.
And I feel like still only in the U.S. do we have that. Maybe Great Britain now, they're starting to load Canada, Australia, but that's we were the first ones to do that. Have that team out there, and that's what the diversity is. What makes us great. And so I just want to bring attention to that pivotal match, that moment, and how things kind of changed, because it maybe that meeting of them maybe made it easier for, later on for Althea Gibson to come into the team, and then later on to leave the way for Arthur Ashe. And now others.
Well, that's good. I appreciate that moment in history, because, like you said, a lot of us don't know about it, and a lot of us don't even really research our history as African-American tennis players, as well as tennis players as a whole. Like you said, our sport is elitist. It's got a checkered past, but at the end of the day, we love it because we like to have fun.
That's right. And it is fun, folks.
Yeah, it is very, very fun. It is one of those sports where if you play it about an hour and a half on a regular basis, 2-3 times a week, it will actually increase your lifespan. It's been proven. But anyway, that's besides the point.
Yeah, look at all the old tennis players.
I know a lot of old tennis.
Shout out to a few people I can come to mind.
What other tournaments do you know where you can get a gold ball? The gold ball is nothing more than playing in the USTA at a national level tournament and winning or advancing to a point where you are in the finals or you win the tournament at the national level. Where else can you have an octogenarian level?
Yep.
People over 100 playing in a tournament at a national level.
Yes.
So
amazing.
It's a great sport. But that about wraps it up for us this week.
Also, too, folks, I know you recognize I got the UVA T-shirt on today. I just want to send our prayers and thoughts to the families and the friends and the students of University of Virginia who just recently endured a really sad tragedy. Yeah. And so I just, my heart and thoughts and prayers and hopes that we can start to really loving our children and loving each other, and, and just a real sad event.
Absolutely.
Sorry that we're at this point.
But now's the time when we can, at this time of year, where we can come together and be thankful for everything that we have in this world, despite some of the tragedies that bestow us in this world. We appreciate the love that you're showing to the Cavalier family out there.
Some things, are universal.
Yeah.
And I think about a parent that loses a child like that. And as a parent myself, I can't think of anything there's nothing that could cut the depth of your heart like that and cuts into your soul.
Yeah.
And so my prayers are to those families that sent their child to school to learn, football player, and players, and that this happens.
Yeah. Again, we'll say a prayer at the end of this episode, and hopefully we'll be thankful. But again, thanks very much, tennis fans, for listening to our podcast. This may be one of the last ones for this calendar year, but look forward to upcoming podcasts in 2023 as we have a lot of interesting topics to talk about.
And a couple new segments.
We
looking forward to asking that that question.
Yes.
Of every tennis player.
Oh, yeah.
So some of you all, we videotape you. Come watch the podcast. You never know when you will pop up in one of those segments. So.
Yeah, we look forward to it.
Yeah.
So again, if you want to reach out to us, reach us on social media, on Instagram, on we're not on TikTok, Gmail, and all others. We're coming to Facebook soon. So thanks again for watching. And as we always say, go hit a tennis ball.
Go hit that tennis ball, folks. Let's play.
All right,
it's
I appreciate it.
A little cold, but you can put a sweatshirt on.
And James, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Ruffin. Happy holidays to you and your family.
All right, you too.